Going black. Sudden images flashed through my mind. Blood running across a dusty floor. An ambulance smashing into burning wreckage and flipping onto its side. A cigarette burning, being used to light a second. A tired and dirty face. Shaking hands. I do everything I can to focus my mind while under the hood. The more I struggle, the more I fall into a violent storm of memories. We're kids at the park. Chris walks through the swings, timing his crosses perfectly so he passes unscathed. I'm telling him to stop because I'm worried he'll get hurt. I'm responsible for him, but he's ignoring me. He's laughing, squeezing every joy he can before the street lights flip on and we're called back home. Going limp, I try to elude my captor by becoming an anchor. Whoever has a hold of me lets me flop painfully onto the ground. I'm forced onto my stomach. My wrists and ankles are bound with zip ties. I hear Nicholas shouting for me. Chris is 13, and he has his first girlfriend. He shows me the lyrics he's written for her, asks me to help him play the song outside her window. We do it. It's a sweet moment leading to his first kiss, but I have to admit, I feel a little sad, too. I'd always thought I'd get to milestones before my younger brother, but Chris was moving at a more accelerated rate than I was. There's a struggle. Someone trips over my legs, and I hear a scuffle on the ground beside me. Chris is 18, and he's at the last party of the summer before college. I've been away all year, and I came to spend time with my brother. We end up in different parts of the house after I find someone from my class. She's catching me up on what everyone's doing when I see Chris in the hall, a can of beer in one hand and a cigarette in the other. My mouth goes dry, and all the breath in my lungs sinks to my stomach. I'm lifted and carried to a waiting vehicle. I feel a heavy thud beside me a few moments later, and then the door slams shut. I'm out with the feet. She suggests we stop by Brady's, the local coffee shop. They're hosting an open mic, and the place is packed. The crowd seems really into the performer, who plays guitar and sings a moody song about finding his voice. As we head deeper inside, I see it's Chris at the microphone. He sees me just as he concludes the song. After the audience finishes their hungry applause, he dedicates his next song to me, and he launches into an unplugged version of Trailblazer. I'm bumping around in the back of the vehicle. From next to me, I hear Nicholas arguing with our captor. A voice booms, "Shut up!" I'm in San Diego when I get a call from Chris. He tells me he's been getting close to a feat and asks me for permission to ask her out on an official date. I'm at once melancholy for how my attempted romance with her flickered out, and proud he chose to do the honorable thing. I have a choice to make, and the beautiful sunset over the La Jolla Cove makes it easier for me to say yes. I'm pulled from the vehicle and dragged along in the dirt. Chris and I are in Iraq, and it's his turn to be surprised when he finds me nursing a beer. I hold a finger to my lips and slip him a fresh can. I can see a tinge of disappointment as he watches me from the corner of his eye. I light up and take a puff. I use the first cigarette to light another, passing it off to my brother. We sit and talk about loneliness. He misses a feat, who's in Afghanistan, and I'm simply weary of being alone. When the sack comes off, I'm tied to a chair in some military compound. It's large and dark, an unmanned hangar on some remote base. Our captor moves around me, flashing a smile, and I see Nicholas laying on the floor, bloody and breathless. He shouts my name. "Which one of us are you talking to?" our captor asks. He's wearing a SEAL Team 6 uniform and swaggers like John Wayne. I have no trouble making out who he is through the war paint smeared across his cocksure face. It's another what if of me. I load my voice with threat. Whatever you have planned, isn't going to work. Captain Squall gazes at me with a 1,000-yard stare as he pushes a handkerchief into my mouth and ties it off at the back of my head. Without a word, he turns toward Nicholas and forces a towel over his face. Holding the corners of the cloth tight with his boots, he stands over Nicholas and pours a bucket of water onto the taut cloth. "Who the fuck are you?" Nicholas sputters, fighting the overwhelming sensation of drowning. I struggle against my restraints and shout into my gag. "Stay out of this, Corpsman." Captain Squall lets up, repeating his question. "Who are you?" Nicholas gags and sputters but refuses to answer. Another round of waterboarding. Nicholas squirms, trying to get free. He retches, fighting for air. "Where did you come from?" As the water clears from his face, Nicholas coughs out a wet handful of words. "Get out, Paul!" More torture. I concentrate harder than I ever have before, trying to make the zip ties disappear, to conjure a weapon, to take us somewhere, anywhere on my timeline. "Tell me who you are." "Go to hell!" Captain Squall kicks Nicholas in the ribs and then leaves him wheezing and shuddering in a puddle. He switches to good cop when he talks to me. "Are you thirsty? Would you like some water?" He must see the anger in my eyes because he says, "I'm not here to kill you. I'm here to train you. I've been observing, and clearly your stated objective is in my best interest." He glances darkly at Nicholas. "But I could see you're struggling with morale, and I've decided to help you get back on mission." Each painful word Nicholas utters comes at a cost. "He's here to replace you, Paul." Captain Squall laughs as he slaps Nicholas around. "I'm not a pod person, Nicholas." As though he's anticipating my unspoken questions, Captain Squall says, "While the others couldn't see or hear your little guide, I'm more adaptive." Captain Squall grabs Nicholas by the collar and pulls him to a sitting position. "I know everything you do, Corpsman." Even as his left eye swells shut, Nicholas looks to me with fear. "This is bad, Paul. This is not okay." Captain Squall strikes Nicholas hard across the face. "I don't want to be you. Listen, I know both of us can't exist. I also know I'm just a fantasy, which means the best course of action isn't for me to kill you. I need to teach you how to become me." My eyes wander over Captain Squall. It's not easy for me to admit, but this is the soldier I wished I could be whenever I was at my most powerless. The captain steps toward me in the dark hangar. He says, "So, without further ado," and he forces the sack back over my eyes.